Hello everyone, welcome on in. Today I'm going to be starting a franchise series here in Planet Zoo, and I'm going to make this a step-by-step tutorial on how you can successfully run a franchise zoo here in Planet Zoo. So to start off with, I have picked this TeaRex map and we are going to be talking about how to lay out your entrance building. So here it is here. Now, the first thing that you probably want to know in franchise is you cannot delete the building despite some of the videos that I have popped out. You can delete this section here, and I'll just bring up my interface here. So we've got 40,000 cash, but when we select this building here, you can delete it and it'll give you some money back. Not too much money, but you know, money's better than no money. But as you can see here, even if I double click into this building and select it and press delete, it doesn't do anything, and there's no option up here to delete that either. So we're kind of just stuck with this building, which is not a huge issue. We could say that this is a train station, a bus station, or whatever else, or we could just hide it. I'm not too fussed about it because this is not where I want to have my entrance, but I'm going to have my entrance way out here. So to start off with, we want to check our heat maps. So this is really important. If you go up to your power supply, and you can see that this area here is all powered up, which is absolutely perfect. What we want to do is put like a little marker right here just to indicate how much of this is actually powered up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my paths here and I'm going to grab a path which I think is going to be suitable for this park. I kind of like the tree bark, it just kind of fits in with the rustic nature of the whole thing. So you can delete these two like little nubbins here. Now what you can do is you can go to align to grid and then start just clicking out here, which will make that all completely smooth. It does, however, mean that this map, as you can see here, has a little bit of a bump in it, and you can either go to your settings and go to flatten terrain. If we just take this out a little bit, and you can see here that that'll flatten the terrain nicely there for you. So as you can see, I can continue to build my map out again. So if we just go again to our heat maps there, and we know that this part here is going to be connected, so we'll just put a little nub in there just to indicate that I basically have from here up until there that is going to be completely powered, which is absolutely perfect. So that is all completely smooth. So we'll just double check our heat maps. Yeah, so till about here, I would say we are all powered up. Now there's two ways that you can do this. You can either decide to build in this section here, which again there's no issue with that. If you wanted to have your guests coming straight from your tunnel here into habitats and all that goodness. However, I think it's kind of nicer if what you do is actually power another section up here. Now again, this is totally up to you guys. What I'm going to do is show you exactly how to power things. So if you go down to our facilities and then we go to our power stations, you can buy a transformer at £500, which is going to give you, let's see your radius here. That's your radius for that one. So alternatively, you can get yourself a ticket booth. So you can see there, that's give it the exact same radius, and this is £10. So you can either choose to spend £500 on this transformer, which will actually break down, so you'll need to get yourself a mechanic to come and fix that every now and then, or you can spend £10 to get this one and it will not break down. So I think we'll go for the alternative here. So we're going to go for this one. Press M on your keyboard to get that moved into position, because I actually don't want it in the middle of my park there. So we'll just move this. So you can see this section's powered up, and now this section's going to be nice and powered up as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a path all the way out here, get this all nice and straight, and I'll chat to you guys very shortly. Okay, so there we have it. We have built our pathway out, and you can see that we are still completely powered up. So it doesn't really matter if you build in this section or this section, then you will have enough power for all of your facilities. So next we're going to be talking about staff. So if we go into our staff tab here, you can see that here are all the staff that you can hire. So we want a caretaker. Basically what they do is they will look after your park and make sure it's all clean, so they'll empty the bins. You'll need a keeper to look after your animals. We'll also be needing a mechanic to look after the fences and maintenance. You don't need security card just now. A vendor will look after your shops. However, when you put down a shop facility, a vendor comes with it, so I wouldn't bother about that just now. A vet to look after the health of your animals. Educator, I wouldn't bother with that just now either. So that is our staff members right there, standing very nicely like they're in some kind of matrix. And basically what we want to do is make sure that they have all the facilities that they need. So we're going to hop up to the top here, and we want to make sure that the facilities are not beside our main path, because guests hate looking at facilities. So again, what we're going to do is we're just going to take off our flattened terrain, because I'm kind of happy with just putting this off to one side. Now there's two options here. You can build off of the main path with just a normal path, or you can come into a staff path. So if you just select one of these, I'm going to make mine just really small. So I'm just going to go off to one side with it, and I'm just going to put this out as much as I want, and then we're going to have a look at the facilities that we need. So this is all our staff facilities. So you need an animal trading centre. This basically allows you to purchase animals from the trade centre, so we'll pop one of them down. We also need a keeper's hut, so we're just going to go for a small one. We also need, debatable if you do actually need the small quarantine or not. I'm going to pop it down. I don't actually use them, to be honest, but you know, we'll pop it down anyway. A research centre is very important as well, so you can get extra facilities. A staff room, we're just going to go for a little staff room as well. And a vet surgeon, just in case they get a bit poorly. And a workshop. So there is everything that you need for your staff. So we're just going to hook all this up with a path. Now I've just put this in a row. You can make it a bit more fancier than that, but what you really have to focus on is negative impact on guests. So you want to make sure that this is well away from your normal path, because if guests get anywhere near this red bit, they start to freak out a little bit and say that your park's rubbish, and then you get bad ratings and all that stuff. So make sure that is far away from the guest path as possible. Now, like I said before, you can either decide to build in this section here or the section up at the top. What I am going to do is actually build out the section up at the top, because realistically, I want to move all this into my section up here. This is actually going to be a car park for guests, just because I think it looks more realistic if you have a section that has got, you know, cars in it. There's so much stuff on the workshop that you can take off to make it more realistic. And that's just the kind of style that I like to build in. I think it's a little bit unrealistic to just have a zoo without a car park. It's totally cosmetic though. It's totally up to you if you decide to have a car park or not. So with that being said, let's start our zoo. Okay, so I've not got a ticket booth on this side because I actually don't need it, but I'm going to go to align to grid. And what I'm going to do here is I just want to make like a little plaza area that I can get my guests to come and they'll get a little bit to eat and just kind of chill out. Because I've got all this area down here, and then this could be basically where my entrance is. So we'll be talking about entrance buildings on another video, and I'll show you exactly how I research entrance buildings, what I look for, and how I create them. So this is going to be basically my plaza area, and then we'll start talking about animals that we want to put into our zoo. So straight off the bat here, I want to have some facilities for my guests. So if you go down to facilities here, and then we're going to look for food. Now, this might be a little controversial, and I've not actually tested this out, but I'm just going to go with it. You can basically put down your individual shops here, or we could go straight for a restaurant. So I'm going to test something out. Again, don't come at me if it doesn't work, but hey, we're going to test these things out. We're going to love it, and it's going to happen. So I'm going to put down a restaurant. Now, the reason why I've decided to put down a restaurant, and then this is going to be a massive hit, is because restaurants, if we just click on it here, you can link tables, and you can link up to 20 tables, which is massive. So you can see our table there can have 6 guests on it. So if you times 6 by 30, that's 180 people that this restaurant can serve. So I'm actually going to put this in here. Again, I'm taking a big hit because I have kind of lost a lot of money, but that is what I'm going to decide to do. So we're going to put down some of our tables as well, and I'm just going to pop them off to the side here. Again, this is going to be absolutely ugly, and we'll be coming back and fixing all this, but it's just the sake of a tutorial and to get you guys to understand how restaurants work, and also just an alternative way to fix your franchise here. So how many have we got here? Going to have a look, and we're going to link tables. So we're just going to click and drag to select all these. So we've got 15 tables there. I think that's enough to get us started right now. Basically what happens is when our guests come in, they come to this little wee ticket booth here, and then they come up to the back here and they go into this TARDIS, which means that they come in here and essentially go out into the tables. Now these tables can be absolutely anywhere you want as long as it's within a 30-meter radius around your park, which it does tell you that in the little small print here. Only restaurant tables within 30 meters of the facility, and they're not in a dangerous habitat that's linked. So you can't put a table in a tiger habitat. So now we've got our restaurants down. Again, we're taking a bit of a hit with that one. We're going to have a look at animals. So what I would do is if you go up to your Zoopedia here and you can filter this out. So our map is a tiger map. So we'll just select that. We want to go for habitat. And then we also want to make sure that they are endangered or critically endangered. Now, the reason for that is they are more desirable, I guess the word could be. So there you've got your options is Siberian tiger, red panda, Himalayan brown bear, or Dahol. Out of the 4 of them, I would say your red panda is probably going to be the cheapest one to purchase. But we'll confirm that by going to our animal trading. And we basically just want to search to see which one is going to come up cheaper. So ideally we want a male and a female. So we're going to go for this female and this male. And then we're going to refresh our page again. And we're going to go for the Dahol. So there we go. Got a male and a female. We can start building our first habitat. So if we go down to the barriers tab, you have to keep in mind that there is different types of barriers. So you've got climbable and non-climbable, and then you've got watertight. So if you just hover over them, you'll see what the difference are depending on what you select. So I'm going to go for this one for the red pandas. It is non-climbable. Obviously a red panda is a climbable animal and it's watertight. So we're going to go for that. And we're just going to start building very close to the entrance here, and we'll make sure our length is a little bit higher than that, just so it's got a nice space there. And we are also going to make sure angle snap is turned on, so it gives us a nice angled snap there. Now, I do believe that they don't need that much room, so I'm just going to, first of all, just build this little wee block here, which doesn't look very desirable. We're going to put up a habitat gate on. I'm going to click on it to make sure how much room that we actually have. So we click on our gate here, it'll tell us the space. So 400 meters squared. Now again, if you go up to your Zoopedia, and we're going to have a look at our red panda here. If you go to the habitat space, we have got 2 adults, and it tells us that we only need 230 meters squared, so that's plenty of room for them. However, they do require climbing materials. They don't need water, and again, it says it's a grade 2 climb proof at 2 meters. So if we select our barrier again, edit barrier, you can see that that's at 2 meters, and this is actually a level 5. It's a brick fence. So this is absolutely perfect for them. However, they do need some more facilities. So if we go down to habitat here, they do need food and water. So we'll just go in here and you can search for red panda and it'll tell you everything that they need. So I've just put in red there. So I'm going to put in a little trough for them and some water to make sure that they're fed and looked after. So we'll pop that down where it can allow us to put it in. This is all quite temporary at the moment because we will be starting to run out of cash soon, but that's okay. And then we want to go back to our Zoopedia because we don't have our red panda in at the moment. And it'll tell you the biomes that they like. So they like tundra and temperate. So if we go down to our nature here, we can filter this out. So there we've got filtered it out by the biome, and I've also filtered it out by climbable. So that means that any of these trees, they should be able to come in and climb quite fine. So an elm tree, they should be able to climb okay on. So I'm just going to pop that straight in the middle there, because when we put our red panda in, they will need something to climb up on. So while we're waiting for our red panda to come, we will probably have to look at changing this front section here so our guests can actually see in. So you can go down to the bottom here and add in a glass window. You can change this by if you wanted to have glass, if you wanted to have two-way glass, which is not researchable yet, and you can also change the height of this as well. But I think it's just kind of fine just having it like that. And a very, very important thing to have is donation bins. So here's our donation boxes, and we are just going to put 2 of them at either side, so our guests can give us lots of money to look at our red pandas. And we'll put some up here as well, because we are going to be looking at exhibit animals in the future as well. So there we have our red panda coming in. So as soon as they come down to the ground, we will have a look at their stats and all that stuff. So here we go, red panda. So if we go to the terrain, it will tell us that they do need a little bit more climbing space, which is totally fine. So again, we could just go away and duplicate one of these trees, and I'm sure our red panda will be fine with that. Yep, got enough climbing space. What else do they need? They need a little bit more soil. So we'll just sort that out. Very simple, and they do need a hard shelter. Now I have learned the very simple way to make a hard shelter is actually out of art shapes. So if we go to construction and down here to art shapes, one of these really flat shapes, if you go for the biggest one, if you just raise this up, believe it or not, they will think that that is a hard shelter. So we'll just pop that to the back there, and let's have a look at our red panda friend. There you go, hard shelter, and that has cost I think these are like £5. Yeah, $5 for some hard shelter. So yeah, it looks absolutely ugly as sin. I'm not going to lie, it does. I will agree with you, but that is a happy red panda habitat, and it's not cost us that much money. Here we go, our guests are starting to flood in. Let's hope that they make it all the way up to the top, because this is a bit of an experiment for me to see if they will, and I actually think that they will, because they've got restaurants here, they've got a red panda. What else could they need? Well, yes, Gemma, they'll need some toilets. So let's pop down a toilet here. Right, so they're still coming in, which is perfect. Now we're going to have a look at building on this side of the fence, which is going to be for our dahos. So we'll go again and have a look at their needs in the trade centre. So we've got 2 again, 1,254 meters squared. They don't need climbing and they don't need water, so that's perfect. So let's get their habitat built, and it is a grade 2. Okay, so our dahos are in. What I've done is I've just, again, taken everything from the red pandas across here. Obviously, they're carnivores, so we had to put in a different tray. They are sleeping quite nicely, and I had to give them a little bit of soil. So they are nice and healthy and happy. As you can see here, everything's at 100%. So they are all good to go. Now, next we're going to look at education. So you want to have to get in Habitat Education Board, and we are just going to put them on the side here. We want this actually to go to align to surface. There we go, so it connects nicely there. These may be upside down. I do have an issue with them sometimes, so we'll change them to the dahos so they know exactly what's in there. Might actually put one up at the top here just because our guests are standing there. Again, it doesn't really matter if it's like perfect here. You can see that that is sitting absolute miles out from there. And then we're going to do the same as well. We're going to put it down beside our red pandas. So let's get that on the wall. And we will have to change that to red panda. So again, we're just going to click on it and then change that to red panda. So that is going to be increasing our guest education there. We can also put in a little bit of guest education at the front here as well. There is some boards we can put down, which are here, conservation. So we can put them in as well. Might be a nice idea to put one actually beside front of our restaurant. While they're standing there, they can learn about deforestation. So our zoo is looking pretty boring, to be fair. We have our dahos are about to mate. We may have some puppies soon, which would be absolutely awesome. Let's hope. We can only hope, guys. We are now actually going to have a look at some research. So if we go all the way down here, we're going to have a look at our staff facilities again. So for this one, if we open up our research, this is for our mechanics. So they'll come in here and they'll research different prop designs, habitats, guest facilities, power facilities, all that stuff. Now, because ours is going to be set in a kind of, I want it to be like a cowboys and Indian kind of style, so I can't get obviously my mechanics to start researching that straight off the bat. And I think the most important one for me will probably be the Arctic theming. So we'll have to get all that started researching. But what is important is if we start getting our vet to research some of our animals. So there's the 2 research facilities that is quite important as well. I will do separate videos on this as well, just to make sure that everyone is aware of what I am talking about. But yeah, that's essentially how I would start off my franchise series. We do have some money left over, so I'm just going to quickly pop in along this wall here is some exhibit facilities. So these are a little bit expensive. They are 3,000 cash straight away, so yeah, quite pricey. Now, the best animal or bug or whatever you want to call it is the beetles. They are absolute money makers. So I probably put in some Titan beetles in here because they breed like absolute crazy, and you can also make a fair bit of cash out of them. So we'll just pop them into our box there. So send to zoo. Make sure that they're nice and cozy in their habitat. So you may have to do a little bit of adjusting for these ones as well. Just taking that down so it's in the green. And then again, education is pretty important, so we're going to go for our facilities here, and we're going to put in some education points. So we'll just get that on the front, change that to Titan beetles, and we also definitely want to have a donation bin. There we have it, guys. So this is the start of our franchise series. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you've learned anything, I'd appreciate if you let me know in the comments below. Our little restaurant is doing absolutely fabulous. Like I said before, when the guests come in, you can see them now. They're going up to the TARDIS, excuse my dodgy camera skills there, and they're going in, and then they just pop out at a table, and it makes them pretty darn happy. It also means, I do believe that when you eat at a restaurant, that you don't have guests dropping litter. So you can see there that our park is absolutely shiny and spanking. We've never had to put down a single bin, which is pretty darn impressive, and they are well catered for and looked after. I will be back next week with a entrance building. So until then, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next one. Take care.